Where the guy? Hello.
All right, excellent connection. An excellent connection is a good thing. All right, let's give it a try here. The old Tube Radio Network with some gray line mini grass in the background. I've got the suit, the pocket protector ready to go. We'll find out who our sponsor is when we start checking in the Tube Radios. But right now, the old Tube Radio Network will be looking for those SWLs right here on 27085. That's Channel 11. If you are in the RF area of Central California, I'd like to hear from you and your Tube Radios. Anywhere else, just listen in. You don't know what the band is going to do. Might hear from you tonight. And after the roll call, we will be listening for, talking about, and checking in those classic tube radios, the vacuum tube radios, the glow-in-the-dark radios from 1958 to about 1978 when they were a brand new. They'll sound brand new tonight because our collectors do a good job of keeping them up and running. So here we go. We will start off with our current 00, who is probably being bombarded by Skip right now up on the hill. And I'll check for his comments. See if Ray is probably getting a lot of Skip up there. We've got SWL number 1 checking in. Conditions are always good, I've noticed, for SWL1 checking in. Also, watching and listening over at the old Tube Radio video site, and maybe listening in on the Crystal set is Mr. OBP. Saying that we do have a couple of sunspots in the making, which is probably creating our band conditions here of late. Hello, Kevin. Thanks for checking in. Over to SWL3. Putting in a proxy for Rob. See what he's up to. SWL4. Shortwave listener number 5. Notice it is still very bright outside, even though it's a bit cloudy. Temperature's dropping. It's about 75 degrees right now. A couple of days ago at this time, it was about 100. And we are not going to be getting any rain, but my background is brighter than me. But that's okay. This is all about radio and checking in some glow-in-the-dark rigs looking for SWL5. Now, I will check in Mama Rose. I saw her earlier in the week, and she is doing okay. Said she's feeling good. SWL6. Station was out here earlier. Hope his receiver is still working okay. SWL7.
So far, so good. SWL7 checking in.
All right, that's a good deal. None of the wacky noise coming in yet, right?
Nothing yet. Keeping fingers crossed.
Okay. Well, all of it is conditions on air. 1 2 1 2. I've got an SWR problem I'm looking on. Okay, here we go. I think I've got it tweaked up. Sounded good, Mr. Ed. Got you checked in.
Thank you.
Also replaced the headphoniums with a pair of more expensive Sonys. The Sennheisers kind of bit the dust, so we will see. And everything sounds a bit different, but possibly better. Let's jump all the way up to SWL13. And have to keep an eye on my various screens where people are listening in tonight. Over to SWL14. Shortwave listener 15. Mr. Deseret sometimes checks in on Facebook, which is a good way to do it. We can Usually find you there if you check in. Also, oldtuberadio.net, where there are a few stations listening in, from Hermosa Beach down in Southern California to Hendersonville, Tennessee, Noka, Minnesota, or somewhere near there. Hello to Central California, Fresno, Tulare, Woodland Park, Colorado, hoping for some skip conditions tonight. The Trio or more out of Squamish. Hello to San Francisco. I bet that's X4000. Somerville, South Carolina, coming up to you. Hello to the UK. Dallas, Georgia, coming up to you. And Canby, Oregon will be coming up to you as well. OTR looking for SWL 16. Shortwave listener 17. Was there a station there? Over. Okay, I hear someone. I hear I can tell your signal is there, but I can't quite make out the audio over. Anybody picking that up better than I am?
44.
Oh, 44. All right. Yeah, he's just in my noise. I think when he's on the sideband, Friday night sideband net, I can hear him just a little bit better. AM's a bit of a trouble. But he is probably out in the mobile, pointing in this direction, out towards the west. All right, Mr. 360, we've got you checked in as 00, and thanks for the relay. All right, I heard that one. Still does pretty good in the mobile mode of operation. Hello to SWL 17, SWL 18, shortwave listener 19, and from the west side, SWL 20.
Hello. Can you hear me at all?
I can hear you at all. I wasn't sure. I thought I might have heard you testing earlier today, but then I wasn't sure if I needed to proxy in. But the transmitter is working. Over.
Okay. Got the range boost on. I may not need that. So give me a second to turn it off, and then I can be almost done with this.
Okay. I'm going to say you probably do need the range boost, but give it a try.
Okay, range boost on, hopefully.
Turn it back on.
Okay, I think that's the Harvey range boost. I can still hear you. Over.
Okay, yeah. All righty, I'll check this one in later. Another one that just got fixed. Needs one thing, but it works without it. There we go. Okay, I'll check it in later.
All right, you're just above my noise floor without the range boost. When it was on, it was adding a bit of an AC note to the audio. We'll see. Might, if we're displaying it later, do both so everybody can hear you, but it's working both ways, and the audio sounds good. Thanks for checking in.
Okay, did you say AC in the audio? Yeah, I think I do, yeah. Okay. I'll take care of that. We'll get back to you later.
Okay, I think it's just being covered up because you're just above the noise. So when the signal goes a little bit higher, I can detect it. As they say, over to SWL 21. That is Mr. JT, who was tonight at Old Radio Night on the Johnson Messenger 223. I wonder if I got a replay of the audio from that.
Back in the day, we used to do some crazy shit.
Oh, there you go. That's the kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that happens on Old Radio Night. But back in the day, here on the Old Tube Radio Network, we do some crazy things too, and we sort of relive what it sounded like with the radios in the 1960s and 1970s. So stay tuned for that. After the roll call, we'll be checking with some radios, and a good program tonight. JT out of the Wasama swamps, where I hope things are going well. Over to SWL 22. SWL 23. Let me bring up another screen and see who is out there. That is Mitch, who I don't see him on the other board. Who else is out there? Oh, there is SWL 17. Hello, Eric. I see you on my screen. So we got 17 checked in, 81 coming up. Jimmy's in. Railroader out of Chicago is waving a hand and giving us the da long horn blast as he goes through the OTR intersection. OBP is there. And Teresa, hello. Coming up to you. Here when we turn the page, X4000 is also checking in. I figured that was the San Francisco. Midwest Sound, Toby is out there in Kansas, I believe. Saying hello to the Old Tube Radio Network. Charlie Hustle 55 from Baltimore, hello to you. Brown Dog Audio is also listening in, as are others here on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Looking for SWL 24. SWL 25.
Well, hello, Dennis. Good evening, and you're sounding good. And speaking of crazy things back in the day, I remember listening to Wolfman Jack on the XERB radio station, and on my transistor radio. Anyway, I don't know what made me think about that until you said something earlier. Anyway, 25 checking in.
Ah, yes, Wolfman Jack on the mighty 1090 XERB. And there was also another, these were 50,000, no, these were 500,000 watt radio stations out of Tijuana, because the AM in the U.S. was 50,000. You went across the border, you could do 500,000. The other one was XTRA. I can't remember if he was on that or not. XTARA, something like that. And XERB. That didn't come in my Crystal Radio. 1070 was just south of that, KNX, and they had 50,000 watts about 3 miles from where I lived. So all my Crystal radios picked up KNX. You are sounding good. Sorry I missed Wednesday. See how it's still sunny outside? That's what threw me off last Wednesday. I was outside doing stuff. And then the sun started going down. I said, I got to come inside. And by that time, everyone had left the building, including Elvis. You are sounding good as always, and we've got you checked in over. Jerry, 25, is one of the Wednesday night sideband Central Valley check-in net operators, and that's on, for those of you with 10-meter capabilities, on 28-445 on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. So give it a listen, and if the conditions are in and you're able to transmit on that frequency, definitely give us a call down here in the Central Valley. We have a spot for visiting stations to check in. Page 2, looking for SWL 27. I did not hear Dwayne this week at all, so I'm not sure where all his radios are. We're getting a proxy check-in for Mr. Loner, SWL 29, SWL 30. SWL 31 is right there in the top row, enjoying the whatever they have to offer over in the green room tonight. Out of Hendersonville, Tennessee, Robert and Teresa, who have a quite nice collection of tube radios themselves. Let's see, who is next? SWL 32.
And I forgot 5-4.
All right, I will get 5-4. He's on the top of page 2. And DD21, no apologies. I just clicked on the video, and that is just the part that showed up. And I remember you making some comments about the language. I'm not on the 20-second delay. The FM radio station, whenever we go live, we have a little delay line, just in case. The FCC gets a little bit more antsy when you're on commercial radio with some of those 7 words that you're not supposed to say. Here on 11 meters, I'm not sure if there's any list of words you're not supposed to say. There probably is, but we usually do pretty good here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Coming up next is, did I say 33? Who's on the list here? SWL 33, myself, the Jingle Singers, and Baker Oscar, Zulu Oscar. honking the proboscis. I was checking to see if they are ready to do a jingle right now. It doesn't look like they are. Boy, when that nose honks, it just throws the Orban into orbit. Looking for SWL 34, SWL 34. All right, SWL 35. And let me see if there he is, right on time, Cheyenne, Wyoming. I think I saw a post about the truck, about the Red Monkey trailer, Red Monkey on wheels, the mobile radio heaven for those of you who are in the area out there in Laramie, near Laramie this week, spreading good cheer at Red Monkey. Mr. Bill, as you know, we miss you out here, but we are really glad that you take the time to say hello. You haven't forgotten the Central Valley, and we haven't forgotten you. Thanks for checking in.
Comment.
The comment, go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of Cheyenne, they were coming in pretty good this morning up there on 38 lower side, and there's a few guys out there, and they're getting a no bill, so things are going good that direction for him.
Yeah, I think so. He's got a great setup, and like I said, I think this week he was jumping up around Laramie, so that's good to hear. He definitely took care of us well here in the Central Valley. A lot of the radios that you will hear tonight either came from or probably landed over at Red Monkey Communications for a tune-up or two. And, of course, antennas and accessories and things like that, which is he still does from the big Red Monkey treader. So thanks for that. And hopefully we will hear some conditions on Channel 11, because I know Mr. Bill has the setup to make it here into Midtown for sure. Directed Net Roll Call, the Old Tube Radio Network. My name is Dennis, your net control operator for the evening. We will be checking in those glow-in-the-dark radios after the roll call, looking for SWL 36. SWL 37.
37, good evening, Dennis.
Good evening, and we might chat with you a little bit later when things start glowing in the dark. Hello to SWL 38. SWL 39. SWL 40. Yeah, it's there, but it's about 20%.
Hello. Okay, yeah. All right. SWL 40, checking in from Chinatown.
And sounding good. I guess you returned from your trek. And now that I'm on video, like I get to straighten my tie and fight with the headphones. I've got the new, this has a coiled cord. The Sonys have a coiled cord. It's sort of not positioning itself very well as it drapes off screen here. You are sounding good, Larry. I've got you checked in, and the audio is back. It's still a little bit low, but it's back.
Roger.
And Roger says 10-4 on that. Speaking of a 10-4, as we often see in the AM mode, SWL 41, worldwide sideband 507. AC 244, Alpha Charlie 244. I'm actually 135, I believe, on that for the Channel 16 lower sideband. I was even checking them out a couple of days ago when the band's opening. I didn't hear a doggone thing on sideband on lower 16, but I think it will get better. Road Dog 507. Checking in on the video side. We've got you checked in 41, thank you. Then over to SWL 42.
Yeah, Proxy and 42 in the gang.
All right, I will get Mr. KW and the group here at the appropriate time. Over to SWL 43. And checked in as 00. Actually did hear him. I don't know if he's still listening from the mobile, but probably hearing us a little bit better. Sounds like the mini grass has quieted down, although I bet they will be back around, 9:30 when they get their gray line. Anyway, Ray, 44, I'm checking you in twice. All right. And there he is, still beaconing. I think he's done his part to get the radio set up down in the valley. I need about an extra 20 feet altitude on the Starduster or antenna, and I'm sure I'd hear you just fine, so... like I said, I definitely hear you on the sideband on Fridays when you're there. Let's go up to North Fork for SWL 45.
Another interesting night. 45.
Yeah, interesting night for interesting times. We will see when we start checking in radios how interesting it can be. Our tube radio operators and collectors definitely have some tricks, some tube radio tricks up their sleeve, but we have to wait. Also, I'm anxious to see who is our sponsor tonight from the Pocket Protector. Going over to SWL 46. SWL 47. No, I'm hearing a skip now. SWL 48. SWL 49.
Hello there, Dennis. 49ers waving both hands and saying hello. Thank you for the check-in.
Hey, thanks for checking in. Good signal and great audio as always. Hope you and sweet country mama are having a good weekend. Over.
Yeah, we're having a real fine evening and great weekend. Hope you guys are all doing the same.
Trying to. This day has flown by. I was doing a lot of little projects here and there and other items of interest, and now the sun is going down and it's OTR. I guess it doesn't get much better than that. Thanks for checking in. Over to SWL 50. SWL 51.
5-1, checking in.
51 checking in and checked in. Thank you, Dave. Over to SWL 52. Shortwave listener 53.
Hello, Dennis. 53 checking in.
5-3. Sounding good here in Midtown. Thank you, Mr. Belair.
Thank you, sir.
Get ready to turn the page to page 3. Wanted to say hello to Wayne, who is listening in from Glen Allen, Virginia. Dodging the thunderstorms. Hopefully there's not too much lightning involved. Was watching a thread on lightning and lightning arresters and what to do or not to do with your coax or your ladder line when the lightning is out. So it's always interesting, and there are some stations. We don't get a lot of lightning, but there are stations here in town that have had the near strikes and close strikes that do create lots of damage. So you've got to be careful with this thunderstorm. So be safe. Page 3, SWL 54. Larry, Mr. Boardjammer, on the Cosmic check-in. Over to SWL 55.
55 checking in, Dennis. Position on the high elevation of the Mohawk High. Is it?
Okay. And I don't know how he's hearing me through the mini grass tonight, but boy, you are sounding very loud down here tonight, Eminem. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you. It'll move back to you now. It might move.
Here's a station that has the hula dancers, but I think they work off of tiny little gears and steam jets on the grass skirts. SWL 56.
Well, indeed so. 56 just for kicks.
I go back over there.
All right, thank you, Grandpa. You are always sounding good at this location. Now over to SWL 57. I like the way our SWLs make it really easy for me when they check in and they're right in the queue. on the chat window. Brown Dog Audio from a campfire deep in the woods, southeast Kentucky. A campfire sounds good. It's a little cool tonight. Campfire would be kind of nice on an evening like tonight, so must be getting ready for the field day or something. Sounds good out of Central Kentucky. Worldwide Sign Banner 1942. Over to SWL 58.
I think I heard 58. I'll see if this wind blows my signal in a little bit. Tough band conditions tonight. Waving a hand from Biola. Thank you, Dennis.
Yeah, more wind out on the west side, and as the sun goes down, I checked. You know what it is? It's the big change in the barometer. When we got the winds the other night, the barometer went way down, and I just checked it, and it's way up. So we're getting the winds coming in from the pressure change once again as the temperature's going down. I don't think it's even going to be 80 degrees tomorrow. You are sounding good. Just a reminder that Jeremy hosts the Sideband Net that's on Friday evenings at 8 p.m. here in the Central Valley, the SSB Ditch Banks Net. So give it a listen on Lower 36. That's 27365 on Fridays at 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Everyone is welcome. We've had some band openings, so we'd love to hear you, whether you're local or from who knows where. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you, sir. Excuse me.
Then we have SWL 59. SWL 60.
Thank you, Dennis. An evening time to the fellows out there. Let's check in Jake's vintage Galaxy, the DX2527.
Put an X in the square. I've got in like about 8-point small font, DX2527 radio. So put a check on that as well. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Dennis.
Let's try Dean, SWL 61.
61, checking in, Dennis, if you can hear me.
Hey, you are making it through whatever noise I have with no problem at all. A Copenhagen kid with an X in the square. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
SWL 62.
Evening time, Dennis. This is 62, checking in from downtown Clovis.
Downtown Clovis sounding good. Hopefully the wind isn't messing with all the camphor trees and the willow trees and the big cedar trees out there on Pulaski Avenue, where even the blowing leaves look good. Thanks for checking in. And Neil, coming up to you, said that Wolfman Jack XERB and their transmitter was in Rosarita Beach, about an hour south of Tijuana. Came on at 9 p.m. and continued until 6 a.m. And most of the time he was pre-recorded. You know, back when they had the little, we used those, I want to say the 4-track carts and the big reel-to-reel tapes like that. And if you're going to be on for that amount of time, you almost have to be pre-recorded to do an 8-hour shift. They mix up the reel tapes and then run them in no particular sequence. And you make a batch of tapes when the new songs came out and when they had new sponsors. Yeah, there was a lot of stations that later on FM, we'd have the same voice, the same DJ for 24 hours when they started doing the semi-tape automated, where you would come in. I had some friends do that locally. You'd have a list of all your songs that was on the cue reel, and you just back announce, that was this, that was this, that was this, and they put in a time cart, and there would be little cue tones, and it would move the tapes, and you'd spend an hour cutting your track, and then you'd be on for 5 hours on the tape delay, and then you'd go off and do something else. We do not do that here at the Old Tube Radio Network. This is a live program, so you may hear anything. And so far tonight, we have. Who is next? SWL 63. SWL 64. Shortwave listener 65. SWL 66. Shortwave listener 67. Let me check. I do believe that is Bill in Canby, Oregon, way up at the top, in the balcony tonight. With what are they serving? What are they serving in the green room tonight? It looks like you got popcorn or something. I can't see because you're too far away and you are in the lights. You know what I should do is look for the Bob and Steve show. Construction continues. Geothermal solar cells installed. The bathroom is complete. They're turning the green room into this sort of luxury hotel for the SWL, so I guess they can get here on Friday nights if they want, and get a good spot, and then stay through the end of Sunday night. Anyway, send bills to Mr. Oil. He likes the singers. 76 years ago today, D-Day, 1944, June 6th. And a tribute to the brave men there. Wow, okay. It's interesting how time flies when you may or may not be having fun. Thanks for the update and the reminder from Bob and Steve out of Ohio. Next, we are looking for SWL 68.
Break OTR.
And the break OTR. Go ahead.
Dennis, can I have proxy 65, please? He's listening, but something must have happened.
Yeah, I'm right on that page, so let me go up to 65. Hopefully I didn't do the quick key thing. Let me make it official here, and we'll get Eric checked in. Thanks for the relay there.
Thank you.
We called 68. Let's call 69. That's Kenny, listening from Tulsa, either live, direct, or perhaps in the past or the future. If you're watching or listening, Kenny, hello. The Old Tube Radio Network is checking you in. And hopefully we will have some conditions so we can pick you up either on the sideband channels or here on AM. Let's go up in the hills, the foothills, SWL 70. And then over to Stan, who is right in the queue, SWL 71 from Dallas, Georgia. I don't even think I tuned on any amateur stuff today. I was listening last night. Boy, 75 meters was really hopping. There is some contest. I want to say it's possibly a CW thing going on this weekend, but I am not. I'm not for sure. Got you checked in, Stan. Let's go over to Eric, SWL 72.
72, check in. Good evening, everybody.
And good evening. You are live and direct and sounding good here on the Old Tube Radio Network. 27085, Channel 11 is where we are at, listening for the Tube Radios after the roll call. Also beaconing on the Universal Media Net web at oldtuberadio.net, and even on YouTube at whatever it's called. The Old Tube Radio Network, I guess.
OTR.
The Old Tube Radio Network live. Okay, I think the connection has been made. The break OTR, go ahead.
Yeah, I heard 55 proxy me. I was just got my stuff up and running. This is 65. Wanted to check it in.
Yeah, sounds good. Looks good on the meter. You want to hear a playback how you sound? You'll be able to give yourself a radio check with the S meter. So all is well, and we've got you checked in.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
On the roll call, 72 was in. Let's try SWL 73. SWL 74. Getting Miss Jilly checked in. She's probably out tending to the ground radials on the 50,000 watt transmitter. They do take a lot of extra special care. SWL 75. The foot switch is slipping here. SWL 77.
Well, good evening, everybody, and glad to be here. 77, the old tower, power out of the Tower District, checking in.
Tower of the Power, Nice, easy YAM audio. And you have the X in the square for 662020. No, I don't have my Echo mic on.
So there you go. A quick question. Did they have a limit on the power they were running down there in Baja? And how much were they running down there in Rosarita?
Well, let's see. The limit for the U.S. at that time, 50,000 watts, that station. Although there was a station back in the 30s, and I can't remember the call, that got approved for, I guess it was a 500,000 watt transmitter. But for Tijuana or Mexico, south of the border, if you will, you could run 500,000 watts. So be more on the line of some of the shortwave stations. So if like Neil said, you could position yourself just south of the border, or maybe a mile or an hour south of that, and put your antenna, the AM antenna is just a big radiated tower with your ground radials affixed to position your signal however it needs to go. And in the U.S., you have to have a pattern typically, because you're at night time, you may have to change your pattern so you don't block somebody, and so you change your directivity. I don't think if you're out of the U.S., you're not in the jurisdiction, so you can just kind of splatter that. You can just kind of splash that signal, that 500,000 watt signal all over the place. And so that is why so many people from so many states remember XTRA and XERB at the big power.
Thank you for clearing that up. I always wondered about that.
And I can't remember, I guess they had advertisements. I don't know. That's where you want to put your ad dollars. Now, as the sun goes down, you can listen to the Clear Channel 50,000 watt stations. Tonight, for those of us on the West Coast, you can tune in probably KOMO out of Seattle or KOA. Where are they out of? Where's KOA? KNX, 50,000 watts out of Los Angeles, usually will come in. Probably KFI might. I don't know if they're 50,000 watts or not. Doing their AM thing in a frequency a little bit lower than what we're doing. Kind of like the guys on the Super Bowl. They get their 50,000 watts and they are worldwide. Thanks for checking in. SWL 78. SWL 79. And SWL 80. We'll head over to page 4. I want to say hello to the mighty Juliet Whiskey John, who is listening in from Iowa. KJG 4755. This is KEO 8492. I'm pretty sure I've remembered my call correctly. I have searched far and wide for my, I think it was 1970 issued CB license, and I have not found it. I have not found that shoebox yet that has the piece of paper in it that I need. SWL 81 at the top of page 4, and I want to say I saw Steve, there he is on the video side. Curfew compliant and checking in. So, yeah, if there's a curfew, go inside and crank up the tower and do some two-way radio. Sounding looking good, Mr. Unicorn. Thanks for checking in here to the old Tube Radio Network. Good. I couldn't get your number to light up. There it goes. SWL 82.
82, checking in from the ditch banks of Iowa. Good evening.
Sounded good from the ditch banks. Are they blowing away after the last 2 nights? Is there still anything left?
Oh, yeah, the ditches are still there and the waters are flowing.
Yeah, I've seen the canals, the irrigation canals are definitely full. So there still must be some water in Pine Flat and Millerton, and that's a good thing. 82, checking in from the ditch banks of Iowa. Good evening. Sounded good from the ditch banks. Are they blowing away after the last 2 nights? Is there still anything left? Yeah, I've seen the canals, the irrigation canals are definitely full. So there still must be some water in Pine Flat and Millerton, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, so we can have all those great grapes and peaches and apricots and corn and whatever else they grow around here. I don't know if they grow corn, but grow a lot of almonds, that's for sure. A lot of grapes, raisins. Thank you, Ron.
All right, thanks, Dennis.
Let's try SWL 84. I have a note to check in 84. If you're listening on something, Jerry, we will get you and the crew checked in. SWL 85. John, I've never tried. The FT920 has a general coverage receiver, which isn't too bad. I'll have to see if I can hear 1040 or something on 1040 on the long wire. WHO, clear channel. On 1040. I will mark that down. Did we hear from 85 in Reedley? I know I heard Reedley earlier. 111 was in. It sounded pretty good, but that's when we were in the middle of the DX from Hawaii. Also checking in SWL 86, the Mountain Maid, SWL 87, Tandy Girl, and SWL 88. Snowy Owl, looking for SWL 89. SWL 90 getting a proxy check-in. And the sun is going down. There's still a little bit at 8. What time is it? 8:42 Pacific Daylight Time. Still the sun is, we're in our gray line here. So if I'm being heard, if the old Tube Radio Network is being heard, 27085 on gray line somewhere, we're here in Central California and we have the classic Tube Radios coming up after the roll call. So listen in. Or tune us in at oldtuberadio.net if the conditions drop out. SWL 92. All right, who is that calling for OTR? Over. I thought I heard a breaking station. OTR listening. How about SWL 93? SWL 98?
98, checking in, Dennis.
Okay, I mistakenly put up 99, but let's check in 98. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dennis.
Don't even have a 99. SWL 103, GCE 103, sounding great earlier from the mobile. I don't know if you're there, Jeff, but we were getting you checked in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Jeff is in the COVID-19 safe mobile tonight. And doing a good job. Good to hear you on the old Tube Radio Network. Let's see, who else is next? SWL 109. Shortwave listener 110. Should be hearing 5150 out there in Millerton. The water is in the lake. Should rise high enough to get him over the dam. SWL 111. If you listen to the replay of the pre-net, 111 was in there, sounding really good from Reedley. He's raised his antenna and done a few things and put in a real good signal tonight. Let's see if the other Sanger station is listening. SWL 113. SWL 114.
114, checking in.
114. Hello, Wayne. You are checked in and sounding good here on a Saturday evening.
10-4, thank you. Thank you for the check-in.
Then we go over to the digital side, the DSWLs. John Lee out of Fairfax checking in, and he remembers Wolfman Jack. I'm not even going to attempt to try a Wolfman Jack voice. I could probably get close, but I guarantee that I would not, after doing that, my voice would not be suitable for talking for the next 90 minutes. I had a guy at the TV station I worked for. Not only did he look like Wolfman Jack, he could do the voice. He could do the voice really well. All right, 128. I got you checked in. Hope everything is going okay in Fairfax tonight. Okay. I've lost my spot. Oh, SWL 131.
131, checking in.
Hey, there he is, Mr. Rude 131. We got you checked in. Thank you. Grabbing the wrong mouse here. SWL 133. SWL 135. I think I've got a note to proxy Mr. Green Arrow, which I will do. Also a check-in for SWL 137. Boy, it's starting to warm up in here. I think it's so cool outside that the evaporative cooling thermostat shut off. Got some windows open. Hopefully we'll get some breeze. I think it's going down to 52 degrees tonight. So 137 is checked in. Let's see if Tony is on AM, SWL 145.
Good evening, Dennis and the rest of the net. Tony, SWL 145 checking in from Course Gold. The noise floor is really bad up here tonight, but I'm able to pull you out. Thank you for the check-in.
Yeah, you stations up there with a little elevation are getting into the gray line conditions where you can hear the skip. The skip isn't that intense, but it is definitely there. So when you get you get some altitude, you hear it. So thanks for you sound great. So thanks for pulling me out of the noise tonight. We got you checked in from Course Gold. Up to 147. Neil, who is out there listening. Wolfman Jack's real name was Bob Smith. I knew that wasn't his name, but I don't remember it being Bob Smith. Now, I'm not laughing at all Bob Smiths out there, and it is not uncommon, especially in radio, for someone to have an air name. I never did that because I wasn't a famous radio personality, so I didn't need to change my name. I didn't have women, knocking on the door, wanting to break in, or anything like that. Sometimes they do that so you can be stealthy. The other thing is you want to get some alliterative thing. You think Bob Smith. You want to be like Wolfman Jack or Buzz Ferndale. You want a name like that. I have a name like Buzz or whatever. Maybe I should pick an OTR name. That's what handles are, right? Everybody, you have your handle, your code name. So CP was kind of like that. Who wants to use their real name and get hacked by the FCC? All right, Neil, we've got you checked in. Tony checked in. Let's go up to Course Gold, SWL 195.
195, checking in, Dennis.
Wow, Course Gold sounding good tonight. Big signal here into Midtown. Thank you, Jim. Over.
Thank you, sir.
Sounding really good. Next is SWL 226. I'll check Jeff. Sometimes he checks in via other sources. And are there any stations that I missed or people who've come by and would like to check in now who are standing by?
A comment?
And the comment, go ahead, over.
Yeah, didn't they call that AKA?
Yeah, AKA. There some of the TV news people you see actually go by different names too, because they started out in radio. Everybody remembers here in town John Wallace. See, he was on Kino earlier, and so when he went into TV, he had to keep the John Wallace, but that wasn't his name. So he was an AKA.
Yeah. Back to the transmitters. There used to be a really big one out of Baja on FM 91X, and they used a female to announce their call sign, and she'd do it in English and Spanish. I remember that as a kid growing up down there.
Yeah, I don't know if that would have been a requirement that if you were, in Mexico, that you had to give the callers in Spanish. Of course, here in the U.S., you have to. And hey, is it Crazy Bob? Crazy Bob DJ is checking. He knows about this. You do have to give an ID. I don't know if it has to be in English. It does have to have the station and the location. So you have to say, KNX Los Angeles. You don't even have to say the frequency, but you do have to do that at least once at the top of the hour. For amateur radios, it's every 10 minutes, and you just have to give your call. You don't have to give the location. And I don't think it has to be in English, actually. As long as you give you can say that you've given the call and the location. Okay, so Joe Roadrunner, 433 from South Jersey, across the river from Crazy Bob checking in. I thought it was Crazy Bob. It's Joe. Well, Joe, I got you mixed up with Crazy Bob, but that's not a bad thing, right? Also, he's saying he did hear California on 38 lower sideband yesterday. There is a big group here in Central California, so if 38 is open, tell the guys in Central California that the OTR sent you when you're down there. Also, I want to say hello to Chrissy, saying, can I check in? Yeah, you know what? We need to get you. Let me see if I have a number. I need to get, usually in the middle of the roll call here, I don't have any available items. Oh, you know what? I think I do. There's one way up here. 28 on page 2. So, Chrissy is going to be SWL 28, and I'm putting an X in the square here for 66, so that means I go up to well, I'm taking a long transmission. I'm going to burn something up here. We want to get to the radios, and it's almost 9 o'clock. All right, 28 is checked in. KF7 TFI checking in from Idaho. All right, well, that's your, I'm going to write down that you are from Idaho. All right, let me unkey the transmitter here, and I got to get set up for the tube radios. We want to get some stuff checked in.
Yeah, and I used to pick up KFI when I was stationed in Germany.
You're kidding. Well, I guess I could believe that. I would think KFI, KNX, and of course it depends on who's in the way. So if you got a clear shot and there isn't a 640 that's close by, that's insane.
Yeah, didn't happen often, but it was nice to hear them hear LA in there when you're that far away for that long.
That's for sure. I remember my days of AMDXing back when it was fun, when there was different programming on all the AM stations, and stations would sign off on Sunday night, Monday morning to do testing, and so you'd have a lot of clear frequencies to hear stuff you couldn't hear before. So that's how I got started in all of this. All right, I got to jump out of the chair, get ready for the tube radios, and we will see what we can hear tonight. All right, I might be ready here. Let's give it a try here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by OTR. Brought to you by 27.085 megahertz. Brought to you by RADI. The Old Tube Radio Network.
Yeah, they're not paying attention to me over there in the green room. There's so much fun stuff to do. They never look through the glass here into the studio control. The Old Tube Radio Network, real radios glowing in the dark. My name is Dennis, the net controller for I should say one of the many net controllers over the 35-year or so history of OTR. You know what? I have to put in. Let's do it live on the air. I have to put in a filter right there. Oops, it didn't work. Where did it go? A filter in on the lighting. Because I had to... It's not going to work, is it? It just doesn't want to work here. There we go. Because I had to refilter the light because there was so much light coming through the window in the back. All right. Anyway, as I was saying, the Old Tube Radio Network, we are here to check in the radios. And tonight, the masked SWL, who sent the pocket protector to help keep my seersucker suit from getting damage. We're pulling out the pen tonight, and let's see if you are able to, if I'm able to see that. Brilz TV, BRILZ TV service. I stared in that light. I can't see a thing. The Brilz TV service at 1110 and a half North 14th Street. I'm trying to do the spot, and I'm messing it up. Bismarck, North Dakota. So Brilz TV service tonight from Bismarck, North Dakota. I wonder if they ever sold or worked on CB radios. If somebody, when they brought in their little Zenith round screen color TV to Brilz TV service in Bismarck, North Dakota, said, "Hey, could you check the tubes out in my CB radio?" Speaking of checking out tubes, we are going to do that, and OTR is listening.
Number 7.
25.
Okay. Oops. 7 and 25. 7, step up to the air chair. 25, check in the green room, and my video just went away. What happened here? Okay, there we go. I had all sorts of stuff falling off the table here. So when I bent over, I know what to do. When I bent over, I hit something on the keyboard, and it changed the video. You got to be careful. They do not add pictures to radio. It just doesn't work. It's just not a good thing to do. So let's get to the radios. I am glad because I am done talking here at 9 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. Hello, and we will be you'll be radio number 2, Jerry. Hello, Mr. Ed. Over.
Well, this time we'll check in the Browning Golden Eagle R68T68.
Ooh, I like that radio. I reconfigured my screen here, and I'm having trouble finding where I put the radios. Do I have an R68T68 picture? I have one. It's not the greatest. There it is. It's a full-page ad. So let's go. There it is. Let's go to the picture part and give us a transmission on what some think in that style. The R68T68 and the Mark II were the top of the line for Browning. Sure sounds good. Give us a transmission.
Well, this one is one that Harvey brought back to life, so I got to thank him for that. And yeah, it looks just about like that one you got there pictured, except for I don't have the the external speaker, which I'd like to have, but so far I've seen those things are way too expensive. Oh, and I also have the stock banana type microphone.
So doing the good stuff. The banana microphone, the way it's set, for those, if you're watching the video or looking at the picture somehow, and you're not familiar with the Browning, that the vertical part of the microphone actually disengages from the base. It's kind of a novel idea. Most of the bass microphones, the base is the base, but Browning was pretty ingenious in letting you take the microphone element and push the talk part out of the base. And that way, if you wanted to lean back in your chair, you weren't having to hold that huge entire microphone phonium. And they also knew that it made it easier for some operators that like to orchestrate their ping, which is the, I guess we'll call it the feedback at the beginning of the transmission. And so by moving the microphone in various positions between the speaker and wherever, you could orchestrate your ping. And without having that heavy bass, it sure made it easier to do that, as Ed has been and will demonstrate for us right now.
Yes, you can definitely move the microphone around a little bit easier to get some strange sounds out of it, or you can just leave it where it is and just get the regular old ping.
Or even, I guess if you tune stuff up right, you can even get rid of the ping by checking in the squelch, and there was ways to extend the ping and all sorts of things. But a Browning is a good thing. On the Old Tube Radio Network, where we check in quite a few. What Ed is bringing tonight is the R68T68, which ran or was in production from 1967 to 1968, somewhere in there after the Eagle series and before the Mark II. The price, I still say this is really reasonable comparatively to what happened after. It was $395. So these are about $400, top of the price line, but very comparable to probably your top of the line trams at that time. And I don't know, I'm sure some of the sonars and even the Regency Imperial, I think, was up near $300. The Series 2 transmitter had the light on the air rather than the spotlight that was on the Series 1, and some receivers have a variable RF gain, others have a 3-position switch. I guess I should ask you if you have the 3-position switch or if you have the variable RF gain over.
Yeah, this one has the 3-position switch. I've always had variable before. It was a little different getting used to, but it definitely works pretty well.
I'm trying to look at our picture. It looks like it may have the 3-position switch. There's a switch above. It's near the speaker and it's above one of the controls below the S meter. Is that the RF gain switch?
No, that actually the one on the far right, away from the speaker. That's the one that has the 3-position.
Oh, okay. So it's actually a rotary. It's the rotary knob then, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, shows you what I know. All this time, and I don't think I've ever sat in front of, I'm trying to think what OBP had. He didn't have, I don't know if he had an R68, T68. I don't know if I'm sure I probably have not driven one of those radios before. Let me add the, let's see, the control room with the S meter. We'll give you an S meter report here live on the next go-around, and thanks for getting us started off here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Well, sure thing. Yeah, Harvey definitely did a pretty decent tune-up job on this thing, so it's doing a little bit more than the 4 watts.
Still sounds good. It's got headroom. Yeah, a lot of times you can over-peak a radio and get more wattage out of it, but then the audio suffers, and this is certainly not the case. In fact, we're looking at the S meter when you keyed up, and definitely showing some forward movement. Not a bad thing. Radio number 1 with the Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68. Thanks for bringing it by tonight. Over. Then let's go into radio number 2. 905, the Old Tube Radio Network. Where is Jerry? There he is. having too much fun. You know, they're expanding the green room, so I think because they're under construction, you have to walk around the back and go out to get into the studio here. So I know it takes a little longer. So, hello, 25 over.
Hello, Dennis, and thank you for all of the amenities in the green room with the jingle singers, and I guarantee you they are having fun waiting for the next opportunity to perform. Anyway, 25, very quickly, checking in on a Sonar Model E, and yes, it's the resurrected Model E that I don't think it's been on the air now for 4 or 5 years, thanks to Harvey. But anyway, we got her back on the air, I think. The green power light is on, and the red light is working. And a kind of an unusual sonar radio, because if you look at the Model G on the face has the signal meter and the channels. This one has the speaker in the front, so no meters. But anyway, hopefully it's making a transmission at least to get checked in. And back to you, Dennis.
It's making a great transmission, the Sonar Model E, and there is no S-meter. The shot I'm showing, actually, it's from Cliff, and there was an external Sonar S-meter that is attached. I'll scroll the picture up, attached to the picture, or attached to the radio via some connector. So that might be an item you want to look for the Sonar. But the Model E itself, and there it is, kind of a cool looking radio. Volume squelch, the receive channel tunable, or you can go with your crystal selection. It has super good audio, nice clarity, good fidelity. As usual, Harvey did a good job, and I think he may have checked that in last week. He was sort of stealthy as to who it belonged to, but now we know, and it is checking in for radio number 2, and hopefully you can hear me as well on the Sonar receiver.
No, I can hear you very well, Dennis, and sonars are known for their receiving. I believe they were originally, the company really started by sonar. I mean, detecting stuff, receiving. Anyway, okay, well, Dennis, thanks for checking in. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but kind of fun to get the old Model E back on the air. And back to you.
And it's fun to have it back on the air. I can't remember if I saw somebody working on or talking about a sonar on one of the Facebook pages earlier this week, so I'll have to get good at snipping and clipping the video, the YouTube videos here, so when someone's on a page saying, you know, what does these radios sound like, I can put up a slice of OTR and saying, here's a Sonar Model E that's being run with good audio, not overmodulated. You don't need too much amplification or echo or anything like that. It was built to work out of the box, and it sounded good. Sonar Model E from Jerry. Thanks for that. The Old Tube Radio Network. I want to take care of some other business here. Let's see. We have 23. Hey, Mitch is in. He is back in the Radio Shack. So I put an X in the square, and as usual, I reconfigure my main page here, which has 17 different windows that I may or may not need to use at any one time. So if I'm on the right item, there we go. SW3 is SW23 is checked in. 23 Skidoo. For the coax. Oh, no wonder he was late. The coax tied him to the Moonraker. You know, that is funny that you say that. Back in the early days when we used to do, I had the phone patch up, and we used to do phone patch interviews that may or may not have been real people, wink, wink. We interviewed somebody that was up on the tower working on a moonraker, and somebody moved the rotor, and that's exactly what happened. I can't remember if they were impaled by the driven element or they were hanging off of the reflector. But we didn't record things back in those days, but we did have an actual on the air. Somebody was hanging from the moonraker, so Mitch has sort of recreated for that for us tonight. Hopefully you are not worse for the wear, and that the moonraker is still all four elements, vertical and horizontal. And as OBP mentions, you can't beat plate modulation. Those sonars, was it push-pull? I didn't look at the tube complement if there was one for the sonar, but I can't remember if it was a 6BQ5 or whatever. But that's where you get that great audio. All right, let me stop talking, as I always say, and we will listen for radio number 3.
45, 60.
And there is some good audio. 45, step up into the air chair. We will be right with you for radio number 3. 60, you will be radio number 4, so have a good time in the green. And there was somebody that I think was calling for OTR. That was in my noise, so I want to take a moment to see if I can hear them, or if someone can give me a relay. Who is the station that was calling for OTR? Over.
25. I'll get in line, but I believe that was 60, Dennis.
Okay, well, it was 45 and 60, and there was somebody after that had a Roger beep at the end of their transmission. All right, might have been Skip or something. All right, and we will add to 25. That will be radio number 5. So, kind of up next is Paul, SWL 45. As you mentioned, definitely an interesting evening tonight. Tell us what is going on. Over.
Okay, if I can. The skip's about ready to get us, I'll tell you. This is Palomar Skipper 71B.
All right, I do believe I have pictures of the Palomar Skipper. Boy, everybody's sounding great tonight. Trying to come through all the noise. Take a transmission. I'll see if I can find a picture here. I've got a couple of different Palomar items, and I do believe you said it was the 71 Bravo. Go ahead.
Okay, you're manufactured 1971. Yeah, you get a picture of it right there. It's pretty hard to see it. I'd like to point out to get all the controls out. Do you want to do anything before I do it? Back to you.
No, go ahead. I'll get a closer picture, and we'll kind of follow along. This is from Tyler. We have not heard Tyler in a long, long time, and he was a big fan of the Palomar Skippers, and he actually talked to us from Alaska over the air. So this would have been the last, cycle 24 using one of his Palomar radios. So this is a good picture for what you're about to do. Go ahead.
Okay, I think this is the first one, and they had another one. I got the 73 also, which was manufactured in 1973. It's a later model one. This is the earlier one. I remember, I believe that's what you'll find too. This thing has 13 tubes in this thing. It's just like a ham rig almost. It's got an A&L off on the left-hand side. You can see the knob right below the meter. The left-hand top, A&L off, 1, 2. Below that, on the bottom, you got AM gain. Up to the right, up to mic gain. And the thing got everything on it. It's got RF gain on the thing. LSB, AM, USB, got a clarifier on it, and then it's got the microphone to plug in there. And the control for the crystals, which for the crystals, are using both receive and transmit the same crystals on this thing. So cut it down to 23 channels. Anyway, back to you.
Described it perfectly for the picture that we're seeing. Also, I noticed it matches their Palomar Skipper amplifiers. It was neat. They had a mic gain The clarifier, I'm going to assume it may have only changed the receive, but if it did on the transmit, I wonder if they did it like Browning did, and they got the 700 kilocycle slide either way. RF gain is really a nice, I don't know why more manufacturers did not include an RF gain on their radios, but really is helpful not only for sideband, both for AM, as you mentioned, 13 tubes. And that was typical of the sideband radios, where a lot of the AM radios were 10 and 11 tubes. The 13 tube radio, you needed that extra tube for the product detector receive audio, which in this case is the 12AX7. And I think my Regency Imperial has the 13 tubes in it. Nice audio, by the way. So it's working great. And let's see, it's 23 channels, so you have to bring that thing on 16 lower sometime. And when Skip is in and try out 16 lower, there's a group called the Alpha Charlies now that are trying to revive the lower side of 16 that would have been very busy in 1971 when this radio came out. Back to you for a transmission.
Okay, the Skip's coming in pretty darn good. Right to the left of the meter, you'll see that red emblem. That's the Palomar emblem on the thing. A microphone got that on it. Same thing. So definitely a radio made for this microphone made for the radio. And it's a euphonic ceramic microphone. So it's made by that euphonics, and Palomar picked it up and put it on. I think it sounds good. Back to you.
Yeah, it sounds real good. You're getting us good audio tonight. I'll put up the, I haven't put up the Orban meter yet tonight, so let me go to the 922 camera, and we will switch over to the Orban meter. Yeah, give us another transmission before you go. The audio is great. You can't go wrong with the Palomar 71B, and hopefully it is good on the receive as well. At least you're hearing me. It's picking up the Skip. Over to you.
Okay, I don't think I'll make it through, but I'm going to try. It's really coming in strong right now. Anyway, anything should be right on frequency. I think it's pretty close to the thing. Like I said, the crystals are single crystal for both transmit and receive. Very interesting radio. Back to you, Dennis.
Sounds good. It is our third radio tonight from Palomar, the 71B, and they made a few different models in the early 70s. This is one of them. This sold for, you know what, $389.95. So this was close to the price of a few years back of the Browning. Although at this time, I think the Mark II is a little bit more than that. It had a optional cord to run 12-volt DC if you wanted to do that. And, of course, this was before 1976, so it is a 23-channel radio. Thanks for bringing it by. We don't hear too many of the Palomars, but I hope if anybody's listening or watching at whatever time and is curious on how the Palomar sounds, they will be really pleased with a stock radio and how good it sounds. Just let people know that you are in the foothills, probably 30 or 40 miles from my location. So you are not right down the street and putting in a good signal and some great audio. Thanks for bringing it by.
Yeah, this thing also, put this in there too. This is really quality radio. It's I've got all copper chassis on this thing, Dennis. Hey, thanks for checking it in. I'll get off here.
All right, thanks for bringing it by. We enjoy your collection. Who's stepping up into the air chair now at 9:28? And that's Joe, SWL60. And I just saw the comment from 128 about Dick Biondi, the Wild Italian from WLS. That name's the Dick Biondi. A lot of the big disc jockeys like Robert W. Morgan and some of the other ones swapped around, from the East Coast to the big markets, East Coast to West Coast. And so I don't know if Dick Biondi ever did anything. And I'm a West Coast guy. I grew up in L.A., so I was listening to KHJ and KRLA and KFWB when the Drake Chenault formats really came out. And you had, that was L.A. was market number 2. So things got kind of crazy and out of Chicago. So that was one of the big markets as well. Thanks, John Lee, for that bit of history. Also, want to say hello to Brian, the mighty KUH, listening in from, I'm not sure what side of his Radio Shack he's on tonight, whether it's the modern side or the vintage side, but thanks for listening in. Also, hello to Captain Robert, saying hello to everyone in CB land. Also saying thanks to the armed forces. Stay safe during the COVID-19. Thanks, Captain Robert, out there in Las Vegas. Okay, Joe, I've made the rounds through all the comments, and we are over to you for Radio 4.
Thank you, Dennis. Yes, I'd like to check in my green machine, my Robin T123B, with all the goodies, a well-dressed radio. I'd like to start with some of the features on it. On the external speaker, it has a button. And it also has a light for the external speaker, and it has a button for the PA, and it has a light for the PA. It has an excellent little modulation light. It has a RX, the TX, your RF gain, your fine tune, squelch and tone, your volume, of course, and your range boost, and a colorful meter.
I like those meters. That was the import meter. My Radio Shack, my first big bass, which the original Navajo had that. I must have stared at that for hours and hours and hours every evening when I was on. It had the green and the red, so I think there was the same manufacturer for that S meter for a lot of the radios that came out in 71, 72, 73. The Panasonic chassis. This was out of the Panasonic chassis. I think this was one of the more deluxe models. It seems like they were allowed a little more controls to come up to the front panel along with the lights. Like I said, when you're on the external speaker or whatever, it will light up when you've got the button pressed. Your audio is nice and clear, and hopefully I'm making that S meter move into the right colors. Over.
Oh, you definitely have it in the right colors there, Dennis. You're in the red. And this little bitty microphone, which I have a big hand, I mean, it really wraps around it. There's no way it's getting away from me. But doggone, kind of a weird little microphone. But other than that, it's a colorful little radio, pretty. In fact, sometimes I kind of look at it and want to call it a toy. But I'm real happy with it.
And you should be. It sounds great. I don't know if you ever get a chance to listen to some of the replays or watch the video, but if you do, you will be, I think you'll be pleased at how it sounds. The microphone doesn't have super full fidelity, doesn't have a lot of the low frequencies, but it's got a nice, what they call, like Bob Heil would say, communications quality punch in the right frequencies. And I panned it down on the shot. Cliff has got a really good shot, including that microphone. So you can kind of see it is quite small, but it's got the little round area you talk into. I don't know what you would need in the way of anything else. You could probably try something like a Shure 444. You may or may not need the range expand. I don't think I would go with an amplified microphone on that. You've got plenty of audio. Just use the range boost. Radio number 4 is Joe, who's connected the coax to the Robin T123B. He's getting enough on his radio collection where you may have to expand the radio table, I'm thinking. Over.
Most definitely. These are already squeezing themselves out. And doggone it, with all of them in line like that, it gets pretty warm around here. Hey, okay, Dennis, I'll let the channel rock, like I always tell the guys out there. But I appreciate you letting me check this one in. And the modulating, she's a glowing.
Yeah, it's no problem. You have plenty of audio. You're giving the Orban meter a run for its money. The Robin T123B, a popular radio that was made, produced from 1972 to 1976. And the only reason they stopped in 1976 is because it was 23 channels, and the FCC approved 40 channels, and the market for the 23-channel radios just dropped out. Some of you may remember I remember walking through Sears with the Road Talkers, just boxes and stacks of boxes of Road Talkers in the aisle of the Sears here in Fresno at prices, double-digit prices, $69, $49, just trying to get rid of them. People did not want the 23-channel radios anymore. 11 tubes. There is an operator's manual and a schematic. If you go to oldtuberadio.com, I guess it is. Yeah, oldtuberadio.com and search for the Robin T123. Okay, stepping up next. Thank you, Joe. Stepping up next is Radio 5, and that'll be Jerry. The Jingle Singers are really wanting to do something. So as you run up in the air chair, we will be listening to, I guess, our favorite Jingle Singers, where they tell us what you can do on a Saturday night and how to have fun. OTR is standing by.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
And hello, 25, over.
Well, thank you very much, Dennis, and thanks to the Jingle Singers for the champagne and all of the hors d'oeuvres. And it was actually, can I just go back there? Anyway, 25 checking in. 25 checking in on another sonar, a Model G, from Sonar. It's just a simple little radio. But we got it resurrected, I guess, back on the air. The meter says it's working. So what do we have here? 8-channel transmit, VFO, and as Scotty used to say, dual conversion. I think he checked this radio in back in the day, but I lent it to him. Anyway, we got it back working, Dennis, and hopefully it's working. Back to you, Dennis.
Working great, making it through some of the skipland noise. Boy, those are loud. I think this radio is even louder than the Model E. Showing it with the stock, what do they call it, a piece of toast? Is that what somebody calls it? The big sonar microphone with the big element. This is just the opposite of what we had on the Robin T123, where you're talking to that small element. This has got the big transducer and sounding really good. It's just really nice audio. My hat is off to Harvey, who's done a great job, and I think we'll keep these radios checking in for some time to come. Back to you.
All righty, you stole my thunder. I was just going to say both the Model E and the Model G I'm talking on now was a stock handheld big old bread box microphone. I'm just talking right across from it, not into it. So Everett told me that. Number 8, back then, don't ever talk into the mic, you talk across it. So that's what I'm doing. But right now I'm talking into it. Whoa, boy, that made a difference. And now I'm talking across. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
He's got a 6-banger, I think it is. I just got a 4-pillar run.
All right, just listen to see where the skip was, because you were covering up the skip land, so I just wanted to see where they are out there and let them know that this is the Old Tube Radio Network in Central California, oldtuberadio.net, live streaming on YouTube. And the best part of it is the live radios here on Channel 11 from our collectors, the Sonar Model G. I have another picture of that. Let me go back to my board. And okay, this is from, we're looking down. Now let's look up at the radio. And you can kind of see that there is that light, little pilot light. I guess they put it there so it's right under the meter. So it shines on the meter. You don't need a backlit meter. Sure sounds good on everything else. So if I'm coming through the dual conversion with no problem, I'm happy.
Roger. Anyway, I was talking about talking across this big old fat mic or talking right into it. So you tell me what sounds better. 500 said aloha.
I think you're good. I'm not hearing what I would call distortion or plosive poppings or anything like that. So Try it again. Do another A/B comparison on the next key down, and I'll listen in a little bit more. And I think the heterodyne will be a little bit less. So try it again.
All righty. Well, then in number 8, the old Everett told they always talk across the mic, but now I'm talking right into the mic and back to talking across the mic. And it'd be interesting to see what you say, Dennis. Back to you.
All right, I don't hear a lot of difference. But that is not a bad idea, especially depending on the mic element. We do interviews at the radio station where people have to phone in a lot. And on some of the cell phone microphones, you need to do that. You need to actually talk across, because when you talk directly into them, you get all sorts of plosives and wind noise and popping. But I think because of the way that microphone is, let me go back to the picture. I don't have it on this one. They probably have some good windscreens and some good padding on that, so it allows you to talk directly into it if you want. So either way, for that microphone, now let's just call it with that microphone because we did the test, you can do it either way. But the talking across, you may come into a microphone, say like on the helicopters or something, where you need to do something different. But it sounds good either way. Over.
Very good, Dennis. Yeah, I can hear carriers coming in left and right, so I'll shut up. And thanks for checking it in. Back to you.
Okay, thanks for bringing it by. I had an advertisement. Let me see if I can get that before we check another radio. Here it is, the Sonar Model G. Oh, boy, I thought I was going to be able to take a look at it and read it. Let's see, Citizen Band Radio 22950, dual conversion, S-meter and transmitting tuning meter, 8 crystal control channels for receiver and transmitter, switch allows receiver to tune 23 channels, indirect illuminated panel, which we saw, high-level Class B push-pull modulation. There is the thing that I think Sonar is famous for, is there, and we're hearing on both sonars, just the really loud audio, and that's that Class B, the push-pull, which whatever it was, a 6BQ5s or 6AQ5s. Anyway, heavy-duty two-way power supply, adjustable squelch, rugged aluminum construction, the universal mounting bracket to mount universally in your universal, push-button crystal frequency spotter, built-in low-pass filter for TVI suppression, 73, and I can't read that, something Avenue in Brooklyn 7, New York. So our New York stations that listen in, they did not take a back seat. Sonar did not take a back seat to what I will say is the West Coast versions of Sonar, which would be the general radio telephones, which always sound nice and loud. And I think they do the same things with the modulation. Here you go for Brooklyn, New York, and the Sonars. Thanks, Jerry. And I will be listening for radio number 6.
Thanks, Dennis.
Number 7.
Number 7 we can do at 9:34. Here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Over.
This time bringing the Tram TR27 Echo 23-channel transmit and receive.
Is that our first Tram? Yes, it is. We'll go back to 1963. This may be our earliest radio that has, let's see, the Sonar Model E is probably about that time as well. So I will bring up the picture of the Tram, and I think if I remember correctly, it will be a shot of the radio on which you are actually talking. So let's go back to you.
There you go. Yeah, I know you have a picture of this very radio. Big green 5x7 speaker, huge S-meter, which I really like. Oh, and I also have an Electro-Voice 638 microphone attached.
The EV638. I was hoping I would have a shot of that already pre-set up, which I don't. I may pull it up just so people can see it. We've seen it before, but it's nice when you have a classic radio, if you can, and if it works, to put up a classic microphone with it. and the 638 is 1. So I will. I think I've got a shot of it. Give us another transmission. I'll at least get a shot of the mic element part.
There you go. Well, yeah, it was in fact one night after I got the radio, got it here on OTR, we experimented with a whole bunch of different mics that I had, tried to figure out which one sounded the best, and this one seemed to do the best job for this particular radio, so we kind of left it there.
Yeah, okay. It looks like I just brought it up, and it's super big on the video. It looks like the face from Alien here. All right, there it is. The, what do you call it? Bifurcated element. Actually, it's one element, but it's got the chrome stripe on it. Something tells me that's probably not plastic, right? It's all chrome.
That is correct. It is definitely all metal. Well, except for the little push button on the base. Well, actually, it's a large button, but it's plastic. But pretty much everything else is metal.
Looks good. I'm looking at some of the other ones. There's a push button. Is the push button on the stem like a switch, or is it actually on the bottom of the base?
No, it's actually part of the stem there. The whole darn bar pushes in, and then of course there's a little lock button there where you can keep it locked down.
All right, there we go. There's the full screen. You can see the switch on that. Boy, that is definitely heavy duty. And probably the impedance is set up for tube radio. I'm not sure how that would work on a solid state. Sometimes they'll have impedance matching switches, but definitely is what you would use on your Tram TR27E, or I think a lot of Collins collectors like to use those radios on their S lines and better. Radio number 6, it's sounding good from Tram. Give us another transmission, and thanks for bringing it by.
Thank you. Yep, that's the picture there. I've had a couple of different bases, but yeah, this one's the brushed aluminum, just like that one, and there you go.
All right, very good. Thanks for bringing it by. The Old Tube Radio Network. Still time to check in your radio, your glow-in-the-dark radio, or perhaps if you need to check in SWL-wise, maybe you just want to say hello. Maybe you're listening. The band is open up and you are listening from far off. You can give us a call here. We'd like to say hello to you. A lot of people listening in online at oldtuberadio.net. Also watching the video display with the audio of the radios over at the OTR YouTube site. The Jingle Singers, who are in our currently remodeled or being remodeled green room, are gathering around the ribbon microphone and have this to say about that on your Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
The station for you, OTR, looking for radio number 7.
Number 7.
25.
And we have a list of radios. Radio 7, or Radio 7 will be, because I heard you first, SWL7. So step into the air chair, Ed, but don't take a transmission just yet. Radio number 8 will be Jerry from the Big Madera Heights. And then, Paul, you will be radio number 9 after Jerry. So join him in the green room, won't you? And we'll be chatting with you in just a little bit. Let's head over to Central Fresno, just hop, skip, and a jump from where I'm at to the east and find out what you've got the coax connected to now. Over.
Station.
And who is the station?
Number 60.
All right, would you like to check in a radio? I can add you to the list.
Yes.
Okay, you will be our 10th radio, and you will be after Paul. So I will give you a call. Over to Ed.
Well, this time, the Browning Mark III SSB.
As if one Browning would not be enough. Well, I would say that about old tube radios. This one is probably not enough, but if you have one, that is enough to get you on the list. The Mark III SSB, this one is tamed down a bit. I think from the R68, T68, you are being nice to my new headphoniums, which have a little bit better fidelity than my old ones. And I appreciate it. Back to you for a transmission.
Yeah, this one's a bit more mellow. Definitely not quite as strapped as the other one. But, yeah, it does pretty well. It definitely has an awesome receive. Also have the gold-plated D104 limited edition 1976 bicentennial type microphone.
And did I put up? Yes, I put up the picture from 135 that actually shows, or includes, I should say, that microphone. Is that? I don't know, and I'm going to ask you, you may not know either. I don't want to put you on the spot, but is that an actual, would you say it's gold-plated, indeed, where you could, if you polish it too hard with the Windex, you don't get any gold on the cloth, right?
Actually, I have a special polishing cloth that I use for this, so yeah, it is real gold-plated, and yeah, it actually, when I got it, it was in very good shape, so I'm doing my best trying to keep it that way. And in fact, I'm even keying it up with a little cloth piece that I have, so I don't even put my hand on the microphone itself.
Not a bad idea. Do I have it here? I got a knitted from Dr. J when I actually got my first D104, and I think his mom made it. It was a knitted piece that slipped over the microphone and the push-to-talk bar, so you could do the same thing. You wouldn't have to, you could eat you could snack on the potato chips and have a QSO and not have to worry about having to repolish the mic after the snack. It's around here somewhere, but it was a nice little knitted piece that went over the handle. I do not use a D104 for anything I currently run, but that probably missed out on making some money back in the day. Should have had his mom knit about 100 of those and sold them. Radio number 7 from SWL7, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. We will go back to you. I'll bring up the S meter so we can see what that radio is doing. Give us a transmission, then we'll pick up. We've got a stack of radios behind you, so we'll keep going.
Okay, yeah, well, we got it in the small ping mode also there, and we'll let you go ahead and get to the other radios. I'm kind of curious to hear them, too. So there we go. Back to OTR.
All right, thanks for the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. Stepping up in the air chair for radio number 8 will be Jerry. I'm not sure what you have for us, but I am, just like Ed, I am curious and listening. Over.
Well, there you go, Dennis. It's a sonar night tonight. And, boy, there's been so many nights where Brownings and everybody else has been the most checked in. But it's okay. It's all fun. They're all glow-in-the-dark radios. 25 checking in on a Sonar FS 3023. Over.
FS 3023 grabbing through the Rolodex over to the S's, and the 3023 comes up, and I do believe that I have actually put up, yes, the right radio this time. It says FS 3023, the Fun Service, the Frank Sinatra, the field strength. What is all the FS stand for? I think Sonar wanted it to stand for frequency synthesis, or synthesized, which it is indeed. Back to you.
You know what, Dennis? You made me laugh. Frank Sinatra, the Frank Sinatra 3023. I'm going to have to put a label on my radio. But everybody used to call these the mini Yaesus because they're the same color. By the way, when I checked in that Model E earlier, I think that's the only sonar that is kind of a bronze color or brown color. I think the rest of the sonars I've ever seen are the kind of like the Yaesu. What color is that? Kind of a green color or blue-green. Anyway, talking on a stock sonar microphone, and boy, everybody sounded good. And hello, Paul, and I'll get out of here. So I want to hear what Paul's going to check in. So back to you, Dennis.
All right, back to me in the studio. The sonar is like the Yaesu. It's kind of the gray and silver and black. And SWL28, Chrissy is listening in tonight, and she gives extra bonus points out when we check in the colorful radios, the red and the green, the blue radios. The more industrial ones are okay, like the sonar. Again, running its the push-pull audio, sounding loud as the G and the E for sure. Radio number 8. The 3023. I'll put up the I'll put up the Orban meter. I want you to take one more transmission before you go here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Back to you.
Very good, Dennis. And by golly, I just want to say hats off to you for running this net for 30, almost 40 years, 30-something plus. And my hat's off to you, and I just want to say thanks. And thanks for checking the sonar in. Back to you.
All right, thanks for bringing it by. Yeah, I'm one of the, in that time, one of the many net controllers. I think you actually probably pulled a net control shift at one time or the other. I remember for a while I was working on Saturday evenings at the television station. I wasn't able to actually do my net control duties. We used to rotate and swap off, but I would, during a break, when I could get a break, I would run up, climb up through the little ladder that went up onto the roof in downtown Fresno, up at about 3 stories, and bring my walkie-talkie. And somebody, whoever was net controlling, whether it was Jim or Kevin or Ed or Fred or whoever, or Rob, would try and hear me from downtown Fresno and get me checked in. So, yeah, we've been having fun on Saturday nights for a long time. All right, thanks for the Sonar FS3023, our radio number 8. Radio number 9 is getting ready to key up, and that's Paul, who has an enormous collection of Brownings and General Radio telephones. And then sometimes he walks over to the other side of the collection, and we hear things like the Palomar, which we heard earlier. So I'm curious to see what we have tonight. Hello, Paul. Over.
Hey, Dennis. This is not a big deal. This radio right here is something I have to check in once in a while, or you know what will happen to them if you don't use them. This is quite a popular radio. This is a General Radio Telephone MC5.
It is a popular radio. We check in a lot of those. And for General Radio Telephone, rumor has it that it might have been one of their best sellers way back in 1962 and 1963. It had a good price point. It had the S meter. It didn't have 23 channels, but it did have the tunable receive, and the price was right under $100. Give us another transmission on yours. Over.
Okay. I was hoping Johnny would have his check his in. I want to show off the tone signal. I really don't like the tone signal on the thing. I think it's kind of annoying, but it's interesting. So they used it back then. Anyways, this is the tone signal on the thing. I'll start it right now, and I'll bump into it a little bit. I'll go without bumping into it.
Yours has a little slower oscillation peak time than some of the ones I heard. It's very well modulated, and believe it or not, as here on the Old Tube Radio Network, as we have expanded, our horizons into the audio streaming and the video, there has started to be a fan club for what was known as the Q-Bird on the general radio telephone, especially the MC5. So we pretty much have to ask our operators when they're on an MC5 or an MC4 to flip the tone signal switch, fire up the Q-Bird for those fans of said item. Otherwise, we will get nasty email or hate mail or, people saying, hey, you can't bring a general radio telephone with the tone signal without checking the tone signal. And you did a very good job. Over.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is the one that's in the picture. I can see by the little dent in the grill there. Same microphone. These are needle mics. It's a factory mic. It's chrome-plated electro voice microphone. As you can see, they're kind of like checkerboards. That's not all I got on things, so I'll get out of here. Thanks, Dennis.
All right, thanks. It does all that with only 7 tubes. We had a 13-tube radio come by earlier, but this is done with all 7 tubes, all 6-volt tubes. The radio had the capability to run 12-volt DC, and also had a connection for 6-volt DC, and there were still a lot of probably 6-volt autos hanging around in 1962 or 63. The MC5, which is what we are looking at and listening to, was an upgrade from their MC4 with a stronger transmitter. And then after the MC6 came in, they swapped out the tone signal for the bullhorn. And it looks like, I've got a note here, it says the one sold on eBay, it must have been, it says for parts. I can't believe that. I believe it's probably a little more than parts in 2018 for $198, which is pretty much the price it went for $198 in 1963. And in 1963, $198 transmits or exchanges into 2020 is probably about $1,000, I would think, or at least $500. Thanks, Paul, for bringing it by. That's radio number 9. We get into double digits thanks to Joe. Mr. Hustler is on something from his collection, Radio 10. We'll log you in at 9:53. Thanks for being patient, Joe. We always enjoy your growing collection. So over to you for a transmission. Over.
And 37. Okay, well, we seem to have a lot of noise coming in, so I'll make it quick. Thanks for checking in, Dennis.
All right. Thanks, Paul. All right, Joe, step into the air chair. Don't take a transmission yet, but you will be the next radio online. And thanks for standing by there. Radio 11 will give to SWL 37. So, Chris, I'm marking you down for Radio 11. And then Harvey will be Radio 12. And I think, was there another station? Was 25 out there?
25.
All right. You will be Lucky Radio 13. And I just want to remind people, you don't have to have any SWL numbers. You don't have to have checked in before. You don't even have to be in the Central California area to come by and say hello and check in a radio. We are out here every Saturday for at least 2 hours to encourage you to fire up whatever radio you might have that's glowing in the dark, one of the vintage tube radios, and or to check things out, if you want to fire up the tube radio and check out the microphone like we were doing before, or check out the frequency. That's why we're here. So also we're trying to give our listeners an idea of what it sounded like. What did it sound like if you weren't on the air, if you weren't around in 1965, but you knew what the radios were? So these are the radios, and probably the operators too. It was a nice time. We'd like to recreate that here in the Old Tube Radio Network. All right, next up, the very patient Mr. Hustler. What have you got for us? Over.
Thank you, Dennis. And boy, I wish back in those days, in that year, even around 1970, 71, I would have been on one of these tube-type radios. I'm enjoying them so much, and this evening, all the radios from the fellas. But let's get into this one here. This is my Johnson Messenger 223. I call it the friendly radio, and more my speed. Doggone it, I even have trouble with this one. I turned the squelch on. That's what turns the radio on, and I turned it too far, and I thought I had lost it. I thought the old radio gave out on me. You know, Dennis, this one does not only glow in the dark, you know, because of the tubes, but the panel light on it, I don't need a light in here to see the panel. It's so bright.
There are some modifications I've seen some people do where they do the LED lights, blue LED lights, to give it a different, I guess, a 21st century flair, but E.F. Johnson knew what they were doing. They were making a lot of radios, and they're still probably one of the few companies, of all the radios we check in, the companies are no longer around. E.F. Johnson is one of them that's still out there. They're not producing CB radios or 11-meter radios, but they are producing two-way stuff. It sounds good. Boy, that radio's got some nice, clear audio. And I agree with you. I didn't get... I had a chance when I got my first CB radio to make it a tube radio, and I didn't. I went solid state. And it was only after a couple of years that I switched over. I didn't know what I was missing until I got that Regency Imperial. And everybody said, wow, you really sound good. And the receiver was so much better. It just got a little bit warmer, that's all. And it took a little longer to, when you turn the switch on, you had to wait a little bit longer than the solid state, but it was a lot more fun. And all I can say is thank goodness. When you do the squelch thing, and that happened on my E.F. Johnson, you turn the volume up, or you turn the radio on, and then you turn that knob up thinking it was the volume, and then you would have to basically wait until a real strong station came on to break the squelch and remind you that you did the wrong thing over.
Yeah, and I'm still doing it, and I've had it already a couple of weeks or so. I think better than a couple of weeks. But anyway, no modulation light, and Harvey brought up a good point the last time I think it was last week. I took the radio and gave it a good cleaning up here last week, and I looked for that light he talked about, a modulation light a light that's underneath the radio. Well, I couldn't find it, but it's no big deal. Anyway, that's my radio, and we'll let the rest of the radios go. And I want to thank you, Dennis.
Okay, listen in. I'll ask Harvey again. So, and he's coming up. In fact, he's going to be the second radio number 12. We're coming up to radio 11, and I will, if you're Harvey or listening. Give us for anybody else listening too that might have a E.F. Johnson 223. Give us the skinny on finding that light, so you can do a take two there, Joe, on trying to find that. So thanks for bringing by Radio 10 the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. Always sounding nice, produced from 1969 to 1972, and I think the only reason they stopped making those, and this was their, I guess, top of the line, because they had the Messenger 2. This is a Messenger 2 with all 23 crystals supplied, 23 channels, and the S-meter, and the Viking Messenger 1 that started in 1959. So this radio had a good 12-year run, at least the base of it. And I think what happened is everything started going solid state, and so that's what they did. But they made a Messenger 250 and a 123, and they were still producing a lot of radios at that time. This is the classic, sold for a little over $215 if you got it with the desk mic. Okay, let's go over to Chris, who I think I know. If you're going to check in as Radio 11, I bet I know which radio you are firing up. Over.
Two guesses, both of them probably right. All right, Dennis, I want to check in my general radio telephone, my Super MC11A, the 24-channel tube glows in the dark with a little man in a wheelchair holding his IB up there, and we're running this here with the stock microphone. Over.
Always sounding good. This is the West Coast's answer out of Burbank to the radios that we've been hearing a lot tonight, the sonars that were out of New York, Syracuse, New York, with the great powerful, out-of-the-box audio. General Radio Telephone, the Super MC11A, one of the last produced by General Radio Telephone before they were, sold to Skyhawk Communications when they came out with the MC12. This is a 9-tube radio, of course, with the ECLL 800 in the output modulator. And you managed to sneak it in as 11, so let's give it another transmission.
Okay. Well, I didn't plan it, but I was sitting here and I heard him say, number 9, he got it there, and then Joe come number 10. I had to jump in on it real quick and let myself be heard.
And let me tell you, you are being heard. We had some skip earlier. I'm sure if the gray line was open to Hawaii, you would probably still be being heard. Let me take this time. I've forgotten to give word to our sponsor, which is Brill's TV service at 1110 and a half North 14th Street in Bismarck, North Dakota. There they are. That is the pen that we're featuring tonight in the tube pocket protector. And no doubt I bet they were a pretty good crew over there in Brill's. If you were to take in your old tube radio, your general radio telephone into the service center, they probably would have popped it out of the case and checked all the tubes and maybe even had an ECLL 800 in stock. Thanks for bringing by Radio 11 tonight.
You betcha, Dennis. This is it for me. I'm tired, so I'm going to just listen now. So you guys take care out there, and thank you for what you're doing.
All right, thanks. That is the watchword for 2020. For the year 2020 is that I'm tired. I say that a lot, and then I look at what's been going on, and it's like, okay, I know I'm tired. Let's head over to radio number 12, and that would be, where is he? Okay, jumping into the air chair. From the west side, a little bit cooler tonight, Harvey. No 100-degree weather. It should be nice out in the Radio Shack. Over.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Okay. You can make this a 1.5 radio check-in. If you want. The Browning Golden Beagle R68T68 from Browning Lavatories. And they made those little novelty toilets that make that flushing sound. I've actually got one somewhere around. I'm going to dig it up, find it, so when I check this in, I can flush it. Anyway, R68T68, 3-position switch on the receiver for the RF gain and on the air light. Also, that 1/2, I was going to check in the Helicrafter CB3A that I fixed that you heard, but you mentioned AC hum, so I checked it, and I can't believe what I saw in the power supply, but it's got a 0.1 at 400 black, big old hot dog-like cap, similar to the gray ones that blow up in the Robin T123Bs all the time. But this is the older black one with the 4 or 5 color stripes around it. Got a big old crack through it. And then one section of the 4-section electrolytic cap is just about dead. So I got to replace all that. And then I replaced already 2 tubes, and I got to do a third, and I ordered it because it's the only one of its kind, so much for that. Anyway, on the Johnson Messenger 223, the modulation lamp is listed in Sam's, and it's the only issue, obviously where that radio is listed, it does show the lamp on the front of the radio, even though we know some didn't come with it. Underneath the radio, off the final tube, the 7061, on the line coming right from the modulation transformer that goes to the final tube. They put the modulation light, or they call it pilot light, transmit lamp, in parallel with a 100K resistor, which is exactly what it is in Cliff's radio. Now, Cliff has the light on the front, but if you ask him if the meter hole is drilled in there also, he'll tell you no, because I put the lamp in. I took it from the bottom, put it in the front. Anyway, so don't kind of really tell him that part. Anyway, just ask him if the little hole for the meter just is there, and it won't be. So I did that for him. Anyway, he got that radio for me. The one I have has the factory stuff in it, but that light is on the bottom, and they have it in there for whatever reason, but it's in the early models it was below. He couldn't find it, but it's a clear light, looks kind of like a little candle. It's a neon light. I think it's an NE55, I think. But anyway, in the schematic here, it just lists it as M1. And it doesn't, I believe, say what the, where is it? Here we go. What the part number actually is. Yeah, it just says M1, transmitter, pilot indicator, and the Johnson, like 15-digit part number. Anyway, I think it's an N55.
All right. I was taking notes on the cocktail napkin here, so if I ever get a 223 without the mod light, maybe I'll put a little mirror or something down there so I can see it winking and blinking at me. Thanks for the technical item. Oh, what do I have up on the screen? I've got your radio. It's sounding good. The Browning Golden Beagle. The Hallicrafters, the CB, I guess you said it was a CB3A that was on earlier, and yeah, when it wasn't on the range boost, your audio was in my noise enough, so I didn't hear the hum. But when you had the range boost on, I definitely heard the hum. It was loud, but I could hear you over it. But it sounds like you have found the culprit. I may be asking you some info on the CB3A, because I have one here from Chris's collection, and it may need a little going over. I fed it into the audio board, and I was just really impressed at how the audio sounded on that radio. So I'm thinking maybe I need to figure out how to drive that right into the modulator somehow, bypass some stuff, because I can filter it. Anyway, I just looked at my video. You can tell that I have not been to some type of haircutting salon, barber, whatever you want to call it, for a long time. And there's a good reason for that. So I'm reliving my wild and mad college days here with the Beatles haircut. Back to you.
Okay. I'll be working next week, so if you would check me in 29 and 54, I'd appreciate it. Yeah. Anyway, so if you want to give me a Browning and a Hallicrafter CBA half check-in, I was going to check it. I mean, I could still check it in, but it's upside down, and I had to move a couple of parts so I could really see what was going on. The electrolytic, 4-section electrolytic is leaking. 3 sections read good, but once one leaks, that's it, folks. So I've got to find a way to cram in. Oh, my dogs are barking. I got to cram in 4 caps there, so actually 5, because there's another electrolytic there. And then the black cap, I've got a smaller orange drop cap that I'm going to put in its place. I'll save a little space there. But I was amazed that it worked at all. So that's good. I was hoping to get it back to the guy, but it'll be a little while. If I finish it before the 2 weeks, I'm going to try and get it back to him. So that's why I kind of wanted that half or 1/4 check-in.
Okay, I'll mark it down. It's been a while since I've done one of these. 12, radio 12 and 12 and a half. So when I read off the totals here, I will try to remember to include that as well. All right, go check on the Delta Oscar Golfs. And I made a note. I think I made a note that you will be listening at oldtuberadio.net next week. And stay safe. Thanks for checking in.
You betcha. Catch you in a couple of weeks.
Contact.
And the contact, let's see, stepping up into the air chair is Lucky Radio 13, and that'll be Jerry. Step up there, and I'll be right with you. And then we have a contact, so I'm grabbing the SWL check-in list. I'm going to the big board here for the SWLs, and the contact, go ahead.
Oh, Dennis, 70 checking in late. Thank you very much, and have a great evening. Oh, Jerry.
Having a great evening is what we're doing. Checking in radios tonight here near the end of the old Tube Radio Network. Uh-oh. I hear you, Jerry. Thank you, Mark. The jingle singers say they really want... I guess we're behind. I'm behind tonight. We're having so much fun on the radios. I haven't been talking about our sponsor tonight from Bismarck, North Dakota, Brill's TV service at 11:10 and a half. So we have 11:10 and a half. We have a half radio tonight. Brill's TV service, and of course, our jingle singers as well.
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic
Old Tube Radio.
for you.
Okay, I'm not really good. I'm having trouble getting the pin in the pocket protector. I don't want to mess up the pocket protector and do something bad. All right, Radio 13, who has been very patient with us tonight, SWL 25. Let me head over to the right screen here and say hello, Jerry, once again. Over.
Good. And just real quickly, Chris on his Super MC11 and General Radio Telephone, and then Paul checked in his MC5, so it inspired me to check in this MC5 from beautiful downtown Burbank, California, made by General Radio Telephone. And let's make this quick, Dennis. I know you're tired, but anyway, back to you. And Mark, good to hear everybody. Back to you, Dennis.
Well, never too tired to check in a radio. One of our popular radios throughout the series, the history of the old Tube Radio Network, and as I mentioned before, one of the radios that is becoming popular, not for just the radio, but for the fan club of the Q-Bird. So, as you know, on your next transmission or whenever you find the urge to head over to the tone signal button, we will certainly be looking forward to a playing of the Q-Bird. Over.
All right, Dennis. Anyway, good to hear everyone. And by the way, the MC5, I don't know. I know Paul checked in his MC5. I don't know if he talked about the secret crystal insert on the race. Right below the secret, it's double secret tone set. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and do it now while I'm talking.
Yeah, your Q-Bird is certainly a little bit more hyper than the one that Paul checked in. But I think we've said this before. When it comes to the tone signals on a general radio telephone, they are like snowflakes. No two are alike. Over.
Yeah, that reminds me of the 17 when Eric had his on. It was like, whoop, whoop, whoop. And I'm not sure what that was all about. But all I know, I was on the ground laughing. Anyway, back to you, Dennis. Thanks for checking in there.
Yeah, 17. Eric had his sounded like the Martians coming out of the War of the Worlds saucer and sort of, trekking through New Jersey. I don't know. That was interesting. And Eric was actually listening in tonight. I think he was one of the ones that coined on the sonar FS, either the Fun Service or the Frank Sinatra. He was always coming up with something for the FS. And Mitch, one of our Q-Bird aficionados, is wondering if we are going to actually have a triple play on the Q-Birds tonight. I'm not sure. I think we could, but I have a feeling it's not going to happen. We're probably going to keep it at 2. But at least we have set a goal. All right. Thanks for bringing it by. Are there any? Let's say 18 after the hour, and good night to Keith, who is listening in. It is 1 a.m. A lot of people staying up late, staying up into the early Sunday morning hours, listening to our radio check-ins from our radio operators. Also, happy that we can have Brill's TV service tonight on the Pocket Projector, where we give S&W green stamps. They had the blue chip stamps and then S&W green stamps. I don't remember which one was more popular, but we used to get a lot if you went to a service station. They had that little thing looked like a telephone dial, and they would dial that, and the stamps would come out. I actually went blue chip stamp bowling. That's how old I am, where they had the colored pins, and if you got the right setup on the first couple of pins, and you got a strike, you'd go up there and they'd load you up with blue chip stamps. I did that a couple of times. You had to pay extra money, so basically you paid for the stamps. But I was a big hit. I would come home, and then I'd present all this. If I had a good night, present all these blue chip stamps to my mom, who collected them. And maybe I got an extra, maybe I got an extra fudgesicle, an extra cookie for dessert. I don't know. Okay, any other stations wanting to check in, radios and all that good stuff? OTR standing by. Well, I'm going to be counting and amounting. Maybe all of you are firing up your long wire antennas to see what's on the AM band tonight. DX, those clear channel stations. OTR will be standing by and counting and amounting. Might as well, you know what? We might as well head over to the Jingle Singers one more time and let them do what they do best in the late night hours of the Old Tube Radio Network.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
Any activity on this channel tonight?
All right, back in the control room here. Kind of thought we might have gotten some, or get some DX tonight, but just the gray line. I've got the new Headphoniums, and you know what? They are not, the cord isn't long enough, and, man. Wearing these 2 hours, they're not as comfortable. They are definitely not as comfortable as the other ones. It's kind of painful wearing these things for 2 hours. So I may have to make some adjustments. I'm a little disappointed because these are about 3 times more expensive than the ones I had that broke. They sound better though, right? Everybody sounds better, even though I have a headache. Gives me a headache, but you sound better. So there's a trade-off. Also, what else is new? I got one of these fancy, stainless steel. You're supposed to have stainless steel to keep your water in, water jugs. And it works good, but it's this contraption with buttons and flip levers and things to keep this safe, and I don't know what. So, just to get a drink of water, you have to flip levers and press buttons, and that gives me a headache. The only thing that doesn't give me a headache is checking in radio, so I could do that all night. So here we go. Are there any other, before I say anything, but are there any other, before I get another headache, are there any other stations that would like to check in or make a comment over? Okay, and the good news is SWL-23 Mitch was not impaled on the Moonraker. The fire department, after rescuing a kitten from a silver maple tree down the road, went over there and was able to get him down from the Moonraker. He is back in the Radio Shack, and as he says, no antennas were harmed in the making of that comment. Well, that's good, and hopefully no SWLs were harmed as well. Speaking of SWLs tonight, let's see what I want to do. Let's put up the fancy modulation meter. Checking my audio. All right, I guess I've got audio tonight. We had 11 check-ins on page 1, 13 on page 2, 17 on page 3, and 18 on page 4 for a total of 59 SWLs tonight. And we added somebody. We put in, if you're playing the home game, go to the blank spot on 28. And Chrissy, who listens in, also has a decent collection of tube radios. Probably colorful tube radios at that. Is now on SWL 28 from Idaho. We could probably get some good late night E-skip from Idaho, and I'm looking forward to jumping into KF7 land from my KB6 land sometime. And I don't know if if you've got HF possibilities, Christy, but that would probably be a decent hop here on 40 meters. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that would be a 20-meter hop or not, but anyway. All right, trying to get the foot switch to work. I think it's working now. So 58 to 59 SWLs and radios tonight. We had a total of 13, and the most heard manufacturer, it was a tie between the Sonars, which got a good start early, and as usual, the Brownings, which got a good start late. I'll read down the list here. See what we got. Browning Golden Eagle R68 T68 right out of the bat. Right off the bat, I should say. SWL 7, getting that one checked in. Nice loud audio. You cannot go wrong, right? You cannot go wrong with any form of a Browning. The Sonar Model E, talking about good audio and that push-pull business that Sonar did early on. The Model E, refurbished from the radio bench of SWL 20. He did a good job here. That's going to be a player for a long, long time for Radio 2. Radio 3, our Palomar. It makes an appearance as Paul mentioned, probably not often enough here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Very cool radio. Sideband AM, the 71 Bravo. There was a few that Palomar made. A lot of people who have them definitely like those. Thanks for bringing that by, Paul. Radio number 4, the Robin T123B from Joe's collection. He's working on the vintage side of the Radio Shack, and we are glad. We are the benefactors of that here at Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks, Joe, for the Robin. The Sonar Model G, the second Sonar from SWL 25, and also good audio. Just a reminder that you can hear the archived sound at oldtuberadio.net. Going up at the top of the page, there's a thing called Archive. If you click on that button, the OTR magnetophone will take about 2 minutes to load all the little reel-to-reel tapes, and then you'll have a display, and what you'll do is look for the date that you checked in, and whether it was an SWL check-in or a tube check-in, and load that on your Universal Media Net web player, and you'll be able to give yourself a radio check. Also, we keep the videos up for a while, so you can watch back that way and hear how awesome your radio sounded. Radio number 6 tonight was the Tram TR27E from Ed. He followed that with Radio 7, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, with the Golden Eagle microphonium. The third sonar of the evening, I see Jerry was trying to stack the deck, and he did. He had the most heard radio with the sonars tonight. The FS3023, Radio 8, Radio 9, the General Radio Telephone MC5. There was another. Oh, wait a minute. Did we have? I may have miscounted here. The MC5, the Super MC11A. We have a three-way tie, ladies and gentlemen. I did not look. We have 3 general radio telephones as well. Who would have thunk? So our first of the general radio telephones, the MC5, radio number 8. Radio 10 was 60 on the E.F. Johnson Messenger 223. Always sounding good. That's like you said, easy radio to operate and sounds easy on the air. It's the general radio telephone Super MC11A, Radio 11 from Chris, our second general radio telephone. The third Browning came by at the R68 T68, the Browning Golden Beagle. And then Radio 12.5 was the Hallicrafter CB3A that checked in earlier. And we'll probably hear it next week. And then our third general radio telephone. So putting it up up with the sonars and the Brownings was the general radio telephone MC5 from Jerry. You ought to play the stock market there, 25. You had 2 of the top radios tonight. So your selections, you're able to pick the winners, I guess. So call your stockbroker and tell him what you want. Also, what can I say? The Old Tube Radio Network, we do this every Saturday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific time, Pacific Daylight Time. Don't forget, for those of you locally and for those of you not locally who might want to SWL, see if you can hear us out here and maybe take a transmission on Wednesday nights on 10 meters, upper sideband 28 445 at 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time Wednesday. The Central Valley Net, look for us there. And then on Friday evenings here on 11 meters on 36 lower sideband 27 365 Jeremy, and the SSB Ditch Banks sideband net also at 8 p.m. Pacific time. We do have some band openings, and we'd love to hear you out there. So 73, everybody. We will talk to you next week. Thanks to SearchLawrence.com and Frodex for the Nixie tubes, which I will put back up on the big screen. And thanks to all of you for taking time out of a Saturday evening to check in these radios and keeping them on the air and keeping us on the air here for the past 35 years. It's fun. We like to do it. A lot of us remember our early days of CB radio. And for those of you who may not have been around, that's another thing that we'd like to do, is share the sound of the classic radios and maybe encourage you to start a collection of one or many. And we are here to help you out. There's a lot of sites, Facebook sites that will help you out with tube radios and expertise. So keep it up. Good night, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for the net.
And thanks to Bozo Control.
Yeah, Baker Oscar Zulu Oscar. Let's see if you can break the OR band. Yep, for sure. And Captain Robert, let's see, I'm still up on the video, aren't I? Let's go to the cameras. You know, this is probably a one-of-a-kind, the mystery, one of our mystery SWLs popped this in the mail, and it showed up, and of course they were not wanting me to ruin my seersucker suit. And look at that. Not only is it a pocket protector, but it's a pocket protector with tubes and green stamps. And it came with a bevy of pens, which each week we are featuring as our supposed OTR sponsor. And this week it was Brill's TV service at 1110.5 North 14th Street, Bismarck, North Dakota. There it is. And the pocket protector, I actually have my little greenie, what do they call it, the tweaker. There it is. The tweaker screwdriver in there. So it is doing what it does best, protecting the pocket. All right, good night, everybody. On the Old Tube Radio Network. If I can get it into my pocket there, do it right. We will catch you later. I don't think. Should we take a quick? 75 meters was really smoking last night. Let me go to the proper camera here. There we go. Man, these headphones are just. They are really uncomfortable for 2 hours. That is very disappointing. Let's go over to get on the right antenna. Something smells like it's burning too. Something smells not good. I'm gonna have to find out what's happening. Let's go to. All right, put on the IPO. Bring the RF gain back and see what's happening on 75. Hey, there's the.
That's what I can think of for now. I might be good for one more. I don't know.
That's the AM guys at 3870.
No speed. Kind of like a much better and better than anybody tonight. So back over to you.
I think there's 2 AM conversations here. The Heterodyne.
And Damon's wife, I can't even imagine it. They got a good support system going right now, and it's you don't know if it's easy to imagine. And 2 small children,
I have to tune a little bit lower.
and one on the way. Absolutely tragic. There's just in the span of the week, you sent over close to 400 police officers.
Yeah, that's weird. There's a conversation at 3870 and 72. All right, let's go on the sideband side.
Regulars on there.
Yeah, you got good signals tonight. 75
I can't
is really
remember
nice.
all their names, but God, that was funny. Anyway, let's see. The chicken barbecued, underline that word, barbecued. Chicken was very good with the Chris and Pitts
this is off the Starduster
I had to get
antenna.
the hickory kind. They didn't
Big
have
signals
anything else.
tonight on 75.
But it was good. And I bought some sirloin, top sirloin, and some hamburger just for the heck of it, so I can also have that. And I have more chicken, so.
Talking about your chickens, this is
and
classic
it
75 meters tonight. Is that 4 talking to 9? The band is wide open. All right. Let's go for that. Everybody's gone to bed. Lots of AM stuff. Guys, at 3873 and 3870.
WA6JKN.
Okay.
All right. Can't success ID. I found the news article on what happened. Later. So I read it now. I
Jared did that, came back, and done with that for a while now. But got more sweets, of course. I have plenty of ice cream. I made sure that before I left, I
Still
had...
talking about. Do you think 40 is open? Let's try that. Let's see what's happening on 40 here. My antenna's pretty sorry on 40 meters. Yeah, I got too much signal, too much noise, and not enough signal. But it's open. There's 10 megahertz. Okay.
I saw, an MC50, and I clicked on it, and I went, yuck. The paint's peeling off this thing, and I just said, forget it. I'll wait till a good one comes up. And I don't know if you looked today, but if you saw it, yuck. There is a 30S1 on there up in Northern California with station console, I guess. And the station console's mounted on a rack mount. But I think the price was $2,300. I don't know how clean it is because he didn't show front, back, side pictures and all that. It was just kind of a looking down picture of it. But it might be worth it. I don't know. KY6L, WB6MMJ.
And that guy is in Running Springs. WB6MMJ, Running Springs, California. Which is out in San Bernardino County. So that's where the skip is happening tonight.
It's in pretty good here in the shop. I think there's probably 4 or 5
And 2 AM conversations. Okay. We'll talk to you all later. Good night, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network. And I managed not to break it. Good night, Robert. Good night, Mitch. 7178. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Early bird over.
Yeah. There's a 7178. And that's on the Starduster. All right, I've got to get these headphones off. They are driving me nuts. I hope I can make them fit a little bit better. All right, good night, everybody. 73 from the Old Tube Radio Network.
Sa 15 meters yung nag-uusap-usap tayo sa 15 meters noon. Maganda rin doon.